I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. The headlines. Street adult dies of suspected sodomy injuries. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA sends his condolences to family of the NSAMA road accident. Judicial Complaints Commission JCC asks court to dismiss DPP's application. And in international news, Queen Elizabeth sent to her resting place. And in sports, CHIPOLOPOLO off to BAMAKO. Join me with the details after this commercial. And now the main news in detail. A family of Lusaka's Lilanda Township, residing near Lilanda Primary School, has been left traumatized after a whirlwind blew off part of the roof to their house. Owner of the house, identified as Madam Bob, has told Camnet News that she was at church at the time of the incident and was only informed by the neighbors that a disaster has occurred and that she needed to get back home. She says a school service cable has also been cut and has now called on the government through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit to come to their rescue. Meanwhile, neighbor to the affected, identified as Jane, has narrated that she observed a small whirlwind while she was cooking outside, but was surprised to later see the whirlwind turned violent and blew off the roof to the house.
A family of Lusaka's Lilanda Township has been left traumatized after a roof to their house was blown off by a whirlwind in the early afternoons of Monday. Neighbor to the affected, identified as Jane, says she was outside cooking at the time of the incidents and narrates what transpired.
Kave complete. So na chisamuna kamona kava strong na wind yava strong filia. So fe na chisamuna paneba na fafe bang filia. And then na chisamuna mutenge wa ima fe na chisamuna chita scream filia. Nambo kupepana the blood of Jesus filia. So na chisati na nawa na mosaba chiva pansi filia wa wambo kupundo. So fe na chisamuna monati.
Meanwhile, owner of the house, identified as Madam Bob, tells Camnet News that she was at church at the time of the incidents and was only called by the neighbor to rush back home as a disaster had struck.
Balanda vene muchinyanja chika vuruvuru na ifimbuko mutenge na kebo ya malaiti ya kutoka so from the bishop na kucheshi na fino tuwasanga hapa mkwa disaster hii.
Okay. The neighbors have since joined in calling on the relevant authorities to come and help the affected family and assess the level of damage to the house to see if it is fit for the family to continue to live in.
On behalf of the family, to appeal to the government and the area MP and the area councillor to come and see and assess the damage. Maybe they can hand a hand of help to the family, to the affected family. Okay. Otherwise, the damage is very huge.
and help us in one way or another, we would appreciate.
The family of 7 will now have to spend their night in a house that has part of its roof blown off. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Police officers at Soweto Police Post in Lusaka have picked up a body of a 33-year-old street adult with multiple injuries on his anus allegedly caused by repeated sodomy. The body of the deceased, who has been identified as Kalale, is laying in the University Teaching Hospital after it was picked by police officers on Friday, September 16, 2022. UTH Public Relations Manager Natalie Mashkolo has called on members of the general public who might be missing a relative to come forward and help in identifying the body.
It all started like child's play. At first, it was only whispered in the corridors of Zambian prisons. People who dread going to prison for fear that hardcore criminals are in the tendency of sodomizing fellow inmates. Then there was that audio recording of a crying mother painfully narrating that her children had been repeatedly sodomized. There was also the recent report of 5 pupils of Islamic Education Trust of Zambia who were alleged to have been sodomized by 3 older pupils that led to their arrest. More closer to home, on Friday last week, police officers deposited a body of a street kid only identified as Kalale, who is said to also have been a wheelbarrow pusher at Soweto Market in Lusaka. For the purpose of identification, the face of the victim has been shown, for he had no fixed abode. The corridors of UTH mortuary are eerily quiet and the stench of death is unmistakable. The attendant wheeled the body on the gurney for viewing. What has shocked medical personnel at Zambia's biggest referral hospital was the extensively damaged state of the victim's fecal passage. They could only conclude one thing: Kalale was a victim of sodomy abuse, obviously by his fellow street kids. UTH Public Relations Manager Natalie Mashkolo cannot come to terms with the sad development, as she labors to explain.
We have a body of a 32-year-old male. He goes by the name of Kalale, and he was brought in by police from Soweto. And he appears to be a victim of being sodomized over a long period of time. Because when he came and when he was examined, his backside it's just unbelievable what has happened to it. It's kind of open, and it just shows us that something was happening to him over a long period of time. And you can just see he was not also in good health, and he's from the street, so we don't know where his relatives are, and we're appealing to people who are missing a person by the name of Kalale that his body is in the UTH mortuary.
Sodomy is described as a natural offense, which is contrary to Section 155 of the Penal Code, Act Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. Reports of sodomy and homosexuality is taking root in Zambia, a country that has been declared a Christian nation. Strange but true. Tito Kalama, Camnet News.
The Council of Churches in Zambia has condemned the increased reports of sodomy in the country. In a video statement Monday, CCZ General Secretary Father Emmanuel Chikoya has charged that the issue of sodomy is of great concern and that government should quickly put in measures that safeguard children from such acts. The clergy notes that children are taken to school believing that they are safe places, wondering how the situation has drastically changed. And Father Chikoya has noted that sodomy is unnatural, away from the plan of God in the usage of human body parts, adding that sexual desires should be replaced with the initial plan of God. He has since called for enhancement and enforcement of laws that protect children in all places, urging all those charged with the responsibility to take care of kids to do so diligently in order to root out the evil that is slowly taking center stage in Zambia.
The clear and straightforward statement is that we condemn such acts. They are unnatural and they are not supposed to be entertained. God designed us in such a way that what I do with my nose, I cannot do with my fingers. And there's order just in the way we are created. And so we must respect God's creation and not abuse and misuse our own bodies because we want to satisfy our lust and sexual desires. And so such activities, of course, you have the Sodom and Gomorrah issue in the Bible, and are to be frowned upon and not to be entertained. Now, those that are committing such offenses, obviously, those that are taking advantage of the children, even in religious spaces. I mean, in one of those stories, it's in a religious facility where those things occurred. And so we must make sure that we have safeguarding policies in place. We must make sure that the child protection policies are in place and are enforced in every institution that will have children under their care.
In other news, female members of parliament from various constituencies across the country have cited broken family bonds, alcohol abuse, and deteriorating discipline among parents as one of the major contributors to the continuous occurrences of teenage pregnancies across the country. Speaking during a meeting organized by Plan International Zambia for female members of parliament Monday, Mwandi constituency member of parliament Sibeso Sefola asked that there is need to revamp HIV and AIDS sensitization in schools and other places amidst reports of teenage pregnancies as well as sodomy cases. Meanwhile, other members of parliament at the meeting have cited vices such as poor parenting to be one of the major contributors to these occurrences.
2022 data from the United Nations Population Fund UNFPA shows that nearly 30% of adolescent girls in Zambia become pregnant by the age of 18, painting a gloomy picture on the situation of teenage pregnancies in the country. This often leads to their future being dim, as their return to school is not always guaranteed after having a child, as many feel demotivated. Boys are also now becoming a concern, as their well-being is not guaranteed in view of the sodomy incidences that have been recorded in the country of recent. Female members of parliament who convened to brainstorm on these challenges on Monday, in a meeting put together by Plan International Zambia, have made various suggestions on how these vices can be reduced. Key among the speakers was Mwandi constituency member of parliament Sibeso Sefulo, who says sensitization on HIV/AIDS also needs to be revamped.
It was very disheartening to learn that 7 out of 10 children between the ages of 14 and 24 are getting infected. So as we are talking about teenage pregnancies, we need to make sure that we put a full circle combat to make sure that we are combating the teenage pregnancies, we are combating the sodomy that is happening around the boy child, and we are also providing them with SRHR issues so that gap is bridged.
However, we find that our children have got less information, hence they cannot make decisions on their own. And when you leave children even at your home right now, and they can allow anyone to come in and they can go out, it means that we still have a problem. And for sure, as long as our children can't know when they'll use a condom and when they should use it, then we have a serious problem.
You could also deliberately, expand your engagement to capture parents, where deliberately skills on parenting are also shared.
Meanwhile, Plan International Zambia representatives add that parents need to normalize discussing reproductive education with their children.
That conversation can only happen when we sit outside that box that we've called our culture of not talking to young people and begin to speak to young people. We have a lot of mental issues around the young people that go unnoticed because we are providing. Because I've taken you to school, I've taken you to Banana, so go. I've paid, is it 42,000 kwacha? Yours is to go and learn. But I'm not mentally stable to sit away from everybody else I call family. So how do I then bridge that gap? I find solace on the internet.
We are looking at how do we ensure that young people, especially girls, have access to services, are able to demand for services, commodities are available, also have information, the right information, to ensure that they make the right choices around pregnancy, around marriage, So how do we ensure that really there's a lot of access to the correct information in that space?
The emphasis from the stakeholders is that both boys and girls should be kept safe and well educated on the dangers of illicit sexual activities. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United Party for National Development spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa says the party will not condone calls for the Secretary General Batuke Menda to be replaced by Lusaka Province Chairperson Obvious Moliteta on flimsy grounds. Addressing the media Monday, Mr. Mwetwa notes that UPND is an orderly party, adding that demonstrations have never been part of its way of replacing office bearers. And speaking at the same briefing, Lusaka Province Chairman Obvious Moliteta has distanced himself from sponsoring party youths from Kanyama constituency to protest against the party Secretary General, among other senior office bearers. Saturday, 17th September 2022, youths from Kanyama protested, demanding that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA replace Party Secretary General, with Provincial Chairman and Elections Chairman Gary Nkombo be removed from his position.
So rating Nkombo turn it down so that ayangane bantu bake bari pachani bari pants. Nkombo stimufuna is mayusi. Then stimufuna ba SG kuti bachechana bapitirize. Mwari teta isetifuna utaichechana ategne over aziba problem yabandani ya mayusi background.
The protest of youths in Kanyama constituency were 13 in Lusaka put the governing party in the limelight and made sad reading. The youths passed a vote of no confidence in the party Secretary General Batuke Imenda and Chairperson for Elections Gary Nkombo. They called on President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA to drop the Secretary General and replace him with the party's Lusaka Province Chairperson Obvious Moliteta. They believe that the top leadership has detached itself with the grassroots. In response to the protest, Mr. Obvious Moliteta has denied any association with the protesting youths and cautioned them not to allow the opposition to feast on their divisions.
First, I want to distance myself that I've nothing to do with this. I've not put a hand on it. It's a view of the people. It's difficult for me to stop what people are saying. I'm very far. I'm living here in Lusaka. I live in Kafionde village, but I cannot stop the views of the people. But I'm not behind it. I want to say this, that as UPND, this political party UPND is a very united political party. And if we have any issues internally, perceived problems in the party, we should find a way of dealing with it. As for me to become the ACG, look, our constitution is clear. The mandate is for the president, and we cannot.
Meanwhile, the party spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa has advised the party's youths to be patient as government was putting in place measures to create job and business opportunities for them.
The fact that you change government does not guarantee you a job. What guarantees you a job is that you have changed government, and that government has resuscitated the economy. Jobs do not come from a political party. Jobs come from the economy in the nation.
And Mr. Mwetwa has clarified that contrary to assertion that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA was not in charge of the country, the head of state was fully in control. His reassurances was met by murmurs from some party members who were in attendance.
Being mindful as a party of certain things that must be done to cleanse the system. We are mindful. Even a motor vehicle, when you pick it, even if it's new, you need to be sure that the tires are okay, that the oil is the right one. If you find the oil was used and it's black, you consider removing and put new oil.
Yes.
Yes. Those are realities. But then, whatever has to be done has to be deliberate and calculated so that we do not make the mistakes of the past.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwetwa says the UPND government does not subscribe to the agenda of promoting homosexuality in the country.
We have been very, very consistent and clear that as a party in government and even in the opposition, we subscribe to Christian values in a Christian nation. And therefore, and additionally, that we do subscribe to defending and upholding our cultural norms and traditions that anchor the fabric of our livelihood in terms of.
Tito Kalama, Camnet News.
Central Province Minister Credo Nanjoa says Kabwe Town is the capital of the province, has been earmarked for mass transformation under the Constituency Development Fund, so that its status of being a ghost town due to the closing of many industries and mines is phased out. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Nanjoa adds that investors have also been identified to help in the revamping of the Mulungushi Textile Dairy Board as well as Kifco packaging, which has not been operating at optimum levels. Many Kabwe residents have been struggling with employment, forcing them to scavenge for lead at the dump site of former mines in the district, risking their health.
While employment in the capital city of Zambia, Lusaka, and the Copper Belt province is hard to come by, the situation is worse in other parts of the country, owing mainly to few economic activities. This has been the case of Kabwe district in Central Province, whose residents, despite the World Health Organization warning that the district is on the list of top 10 polluted places in the world, continue to scavenge for lead at dump sites of former mines due to poverty.
Kuno ku Black Mountain kuno ko tubombera wali badenja sana ni chofye ifya kuchitata twakwata ife kuno ile mu tubombera mwali balidi na zinki ira affect abantu nomba abengita bakwete ufya kuchita ama buyers balabene nga twabapangira mu masaka amatani batupera FMPA ino 500 kwatiro bwe bantu tuliferi mbya bali 7 or 5 twakana fya mandate kwata ngwete kwacha.
Central Province Minister Credo Nanjoa says various economic activities have been earmarked for Kabwe so that it is no longer called a ghost town.
We are also engaging other investors to look into the issue of Kifiko, the dairy board, which also closed. All those, there are a lot of discussions that we are doing. So if we are able to manage all this in the shortest possible time, we are seeing Kabwe coming out of that share of being called a ghost district or ghost town. And we cannot even allow Kabwe to be called a ghost town. That is our provincial headquarters. Definitely we are determined to turn around issues so that Kabwe become viable as it used to be.
He adds that the problem of illegal mining will also be tackled to ensure that locals benefit equally from the town's mineral resources.
Many issues that we embarked on immediately when we took up office was to see how these illegal mining, which have been perpetrating in the province, could be put to rest and reorganize the mining sector for the good of our people. Now we are seeing that we are getting organized and more jobs are being created in the province. If all go well, we are looking to a situation whereby, for example, in Serenje district, where we have got about 12 processing plants of manganese. By the end of the year, we are going to have about 28 processing plants, and with a minimum labor force of about 250. The
Central Province Minister has further urged residents to actively participate in the development of their own areas. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News.
23 people have died in Kapota district of Northern Province in a road traffic accident that occurred at 0140 hours Monday morning along NSAMA Gravel Road. According to a statement from the Zambia police, the church members were heading to Nsumbu from a church program in NSAMA district when the driver of the Mitsubishi Canter vehicle with 50 people on board all who are members of the United Church of Zambia, UCZ, lost control after failing to negotiate a curve due to excessive speed and overturned in the process. Meanwhile, President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA on his Facebook page says his prayers are with the affected families, urging them to take comfort. In a separate statement issued by Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA, Head of Public Relations, Frederick Mubanga, the agency has dispatched a team of officers to investigate the cause of the accident to prevent such incidences in the future, a report which he says will be made public in due course. Zambia Police spokesperson Rehamonga has confirmed the development in a statement.
Police in Kaputa of Northern Province received a report of a fatal road traffic accident which 23 people have died. The accident occurred today, September 19, 2022, around 0140 hours along Sumbu Road. The accident happened when the driver of the Mitsubishi Canter truck, registration number ALOT 7817, with 50 people on board, all members of the United Church of Zambia Women Group in Nsumbu, failed to negotiate a curve due to excessive speed and consequently lost control of the vehicle and careered off the road and later overturned. The church members were heading to Nsumbu from a church program in NSAMA district. 17 people died on the spot while 6 died upon reaching Nsumbu Clinic. The driver was been identified as Lloyd Chancer, 840 of Nsumbu area, and 27 others suffered injuries and are currently receiving treatment at Mpulongo District Hospital. All bodies of the deceased victims have been deposited in Porokoso District Hospital mortuary awaiting identification and postmortem.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the rest of the news. The Lusaka Magistrate Court has ordered for further medical examination tests on former President Edgar Lungu's associate and proprietor of Ndozo Lodges Limited, Shrins Chamba, who is facing corruption-related charges. When the matter came up before court Monday morning for presentation of medical report from neurosurgeon of University Teaching Hospital, the court was informed that medical expert requested for more time. This, however, left Lusaka Magistrate Irene Wishimanga to order the accused undergo another test at Chinama Hospital by psychiatrists to ascertain the state of his mind before the court can proceed with trial. Mr. Sichamba is jointly charged with his wife Udora Nambela and son David with 15 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime.
Former President Edgar Lungu's associate and proprietor of Ndozo Lodges Limited, Clint Sichamba, has been subjected to another medical examination by the Lusaka's Magistrate Court. This time around, Magistrate Irene Wishimanga has ordered that the accused undergo another test at CHILEMA Hospital to be done by a psychiatrist to ascertain the state of his mind before the court can proceed with trial. On the 1st of September 2022, Magistrate Wishimanga ordered for Mr. Sichamba to be examined by a neurosurgeon at the University Teaching Hospital after he claimed of being incapable of making a proper defense due to his illness, a submission he made through his lawyers. However, when the matter came up before court Monday morning for presentation of the said medical report from the University Teaching Hospital, the accused, who is facing corruption-related charges through his lawyers, informed the court that his medical report from UTH is not yet ready, as medical experts have requested for more time, stating that the report, which has been ordered by the court, will be ready by the 23rd of September 2022. This also left the court to now order that the accused be taken to CHILEMA for another examination. Earlier this month, Mr. Sichamba, who is jointly charged together with his wife, Udora Nambela, and his son David, with 15 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime, refused to take plea on ground that he is incapable to stand trial due to his illness. The accused was recently arrested by the Anti-Corruption Commission together with his wife and son over alleged corruption involving over 781 million kwacha and more than 10 million United States dollars, charges which is yet to take plea to, as the court awaits for the medical reports. According to the charges before court, the trio has been slapped with 15 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime contrary to Section 71(1) of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act No. 19 of 2010. The matter comes up on the 7th of October 2022 for presentation of both medical reports. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Judicial Complaints Commission JCC has submitted before the Lusaka High Court that the application by the suspended Director of Public Prosecution, Lilian Suyuni, to commence judicial review proceedings against the state over President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA's refusal to relinquish her oath of silence has been overtaken by event following her suspension by the President, who acted upon recommendation given to him by the Commission. In this case, Ms. Suyuni has cited the Attorney General and argues that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA failed to understand the contents of the oath of the office made pursuant to Section 11 of the Official Oath Act and provisions of Article 931 of the Constitution.
Arguments have advanced before the Lusaka High Court over the application made by the suspended Director of Public Prosecution, Lilian Suyuni, to commence judicial review proceedings against the state over President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA's refusal to relinquish her oath of silence, with the Judicial Complaints Commission submitting before court that the application by Ms. Suyuni has been overtaken by event. In this case, Ms. Suyuni has cited the Attorney General and commenced judicial review proceedings against the state over the heads of state refusal to relinquish her oath of silence in order for her to answer to allegations of unethical misconduct before the Judicial Complaints Commission. She alleges that the President failed to understand the contents of the oath of office made pursuant to Section 11 of the Official Oath Act and the provision of Article 93(1) of the Constitution. She wants the court to declare unconstitutional and illegal the decision by the head of state to decline her request to waive off the oath of secrecy in relation to matters complained of by members of the public against her before the JCC. However, the Commission states that the application by Ms. Suyuni for leave to commence judicial review proceedings and that the said leave should operate as a stay of the decision or the proceedings before the Commission has been overtaken by event. adding that the Commission already had complaints against her and already presented its recommendation report to the head of state upon acting on the same report on the 14th of September 2022, suspended her from the office of the Director of Public Prosecution. The court was hearing the submissions from both parties this afternoon, Monday, the 19th of September 2022.
For the DPP to commence judicial review proceedings. So the parties were ahead, and the ruling has been reserved to 22nd September at 09 hours.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Indian National Congress member Ravi Daviela says the independence of Zambia came smoothly because of the non-violence approach that was taken by Queen Elizabeth II. Mr. Daviela said the first primary school in Livingston, including part of Evelyn Horne College, were constructed through the initiatives that were initiated by the late Queen. Meanwhile, British High Commissioner to Zambia, Nicholas Woolley, says the late Queen has a strong relationship that backdates during the time the late Kenneth Kaunda was president of Zambia till the time of her death.
A brass band comprising the Scouts, Girls Guide and members from the Zambia Army Monday marched at the National Museum ground in Lusaka, where the commemoration of the passing on of Queen Elizabeth II was being held. British High Commission to Zambia Nicholas Hoody led a delegation of other High Commissioners at the National Museum, where an exhibition of Queen Elizabeth's life is being held from the 19th of September 2022 to 26th September of 2022. Queen Elizabeth II, who died on 8th September 2022, has become the longest-serving monarch in the world after her reign lasted for 70 years and died at the age of 96. In speaking at the commemoration, National Museum of Zambia Director Dr. Bevine Sangolube says the history of Zambia cannot be complete without the mention of Queen Elizabeth II.
The theme was created to celebrate her life and showcase her involvement in Commonwealth states in the case of Zambia as a member. Ladies and gentlemen, as museums, it's our role and mandate to preserve our history and cultural heritage. Therefore, our history as a nation cannot be complete without the mention of Her Majesty, the Queen.
Meanwhile, Indian National Congress member Ravi Daviela also says the independence of Zambia came very smoothly because of the non-violence approach that was taken by the Queen.
There you can see a little contribution of the Indian community, which followed the Gandhian policy of non-violence towards independence. So the contribution was very, very great. And what happened is that because of the non-violent approach, the independence came very, very smoothly. There were about 10 people who were sent to study in India through that auspices, and eventually they became the vice presidents, ministers, etc. of the first cabinet of Dr. Kaunda.
In British High Commission to Zambia, Nicholas Hooley says Queen Elizabeth II was passionate about the Commonwealth, a volunteer association of 56 member states which was meant to bring nations together for a common goal.
Speech to mark her 21st birthday, part of that same 1947 trip to Livingston, the Queen set out her desire for the Commonwealth to become more free, more prosperous, more happy, and a more powerful influence for good in the world. She strongly believed in the strength that came from Commonwealth nations working together, saying in 2015 that one simple lesson from history is that when people come together to talk, to exchange ideas, and to develop common goals, wonderful things can happen.
Zambia's Republican President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA declared Monday, 19th September 2022, a day of national mourning in honor of the late Queen Elizabeth II. And Zambia's acting Foreign Affairs Minister Mlambo Haimbe is among the international delegates attending the burial of the late Queen in Britain, who is being put to rest at the late medieval St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle, where 10 other monarchs lie buried. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Coming next is international and sports news.
What began as a small vision, today it's become a big vision.
Camnet TV 10/6. As we celebrate this day, we say thank you to our viewers and clients for the support and making sure Camnet TV is your #1 station. A new chapter has started as we give you nothing but the best in our programming and reliable news Camnet TV offers through our dedicated management and staff members.
When God is within us, there's nothing that we cannot do.
Happy 60th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you for staying with us. Now getting into our international item. King Charles III, the Prince and Princess of Wales Williams, and Kate and their children, George and Charlotte, and Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, were among the royal family members to be seen arriving at Westminster Abbey ahead of the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Prince William and Prince Harry have once again put aside their differences to walk side by side in a process taking Queen Elizabeth's coffin to Westminster Abbey for her funeral service. It was a solemn walk from Westminster Hall, where Queen Elizabeth has been laying in state since September 14th, to the Abbey, where the funeral took place at 11 a.m. local time on September 19th. While William wore his military regalia, Harry, as a non-walking royal, was dressed in a traditional mourning suit. While both remained poker-faced, walking stiff and upright, Prince Andrew and King Charles were openly crying as their march was soundtracked by bagpipes and drums. African leaders were also in attendance, with Kenya, Tanzania being represented by their presidents, while Zambia sent a representative, Minister of Justice, Mlambo Haimbe. Here's a roundup of international news.
On the western bank of the Nile in Giza, Egypt, men and women are busy cleaning the river. Every day they remove more than 300 kilograms of plastic from the Nile. They are part of the Very Nile Initiative, a project launched in 2018 to gather plastic garbage and raise awareness on the importance of protecting the environment. This huge structure, weighing more than 7,500 kilograms, was erected by volunteers using plastic garbage. We chose to build a pyramid as a huge Egyptian symbol. It is made of plastic collected from the Nile to show people the scale of the problem. The collection of plastic had not been done in a long time, so in order to build a pyramid, we started collecting plastic. It was a 55-day work done by 6 fishermen, and we bought the plastic they collected. It's an extra income for them. Very Nile volunteers unveiled the world's biggest plastic pyramid on World Cleanup Day. Around 250,000 plastic bottles collected from the Nile were used, an achievement for an entire team. We spent 3 years cleaning the Nile, buying plastic from the fishermen who collect it. They collected more plastic than fish. Plastic can stay in the river for hundreds of years without breaking down. If these plastic bottles will be recycled into yarns, plastic pollution remains a challenge, especially for the fishing sector. According to a World Economic Forum study, over 80% of all riverborne plastic comes from just 10 rivers, amongst which the Nile.
The amount of fish in the river is no longer big as it used to be. Consequently, now the fishermen are involved in cleaning the Nile to get extra income. And recently we have extracted tons of plastic from the river. Plastic affects our lives, the environment and everything else.
Plastic collected is also turned into products such as bags or accessories. An upcycling workshop led by women from the Kusaya Island enables them to secure funds. Very Nile is supported by the Drossels Foundation, One Earth, One Ocean organization and the Egyptian Ministry of Environment. The country will host the next UN World Climate Conference in November. Tunisian opposition leaders will be questioned by the police Monday. The chief of the Islamist party Ennahda, Rachid Ghannouchi, shown here, and his deputy, Ali Al-Hariri, were summoned for questioning by the country's anti-terrorism unit. According to party officials quoted by Reuters, the Ennahda leaders are questioned for allegedly sending jihadists to Syria. Ghannouchi himself told the news agency he was unaware of the reasons he'll have to appear before the police. On the party's Facebook page, the statement read Sunday that the group had always respected the judiciary, accusing the authorities of targeting the opposition and diverting attention. Ghannouchi, who's 81, has been under investigation since June amid allegations of corruption and money laundering.
We now take a look at what we have in our sports news. The Zambian men's national team has left for Bamako, Mali for 2 FIFA international friendly matches against the Eagle during the international window. 6 local-based players and TP Mazembe defender Tandi Mwape left aboard Ethiopia Airlines this afternoon, while Red Arrows player will travel on Tuesday after having been away in Angola for their CAF Champions League assignment against Primeiro de Agosto. Other players will fly directly to Bamako from their bases. Players that left for Bamako via Addis Ababa are Kelvin Kampamba, Lawrence Mulenga, Joshua Mutale, Dominic Chanda, Luka Chamanga, Tandi Mwape and Sheni Mayembe. Zambia plays Mali on September 23rd and 26th in 2 great FIFA international friendly matches. The CHIPOLOPOLO are using the matches as part of preparation for the Ivory Coast 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers that will take place next year in March.
Everybody is aware that we are preparing for the Africa Cup for next year. So I think it's a good thing that we start preparing, because this is a FIFA window, so we cannot just let the boys, rest maybe 2 weeks. So it's a good thing that Mali has accepted to play Zambia.
I feel very happy, and this is a very good motivation for me. It's not easy making it like the people who usually watch on TV, the likes of Hudson Daga and the like. So it's a very good motivation for me. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very, very happy about it. This really shows that hard work really pays off, and I'm very, very happy for it. It's like a dream come true, and making it to the senior national team.
This is a FIFA window which we thought we could take advantage of and then play two what I would call A-level friendlies in Mali. The idea really is to prepare for 2023 AFCON. So we are taking this game very seriously, and we are only urging our boys to apply themselves fully, because this is more of a beefing up of the national team. So we want to see how best we can prepare the team for the encounter for the Sierra Leone in 2023.
That sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Street adult dies of suspected sodomy injuries. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA sends his condolences to families of the NSAMA road accident. Judicial Complaints Commission JCC asks the court to dismiss DPP's application. And in international news, Queen Elizabeth sent to her resting place. And in sports, CHIPOLOPOLO off to BAMAKO. Before we go, here is our Camnet verse of the day, and it is coming from the book of Ephesians 4 verse 29, and it reads, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their need, that it may benefit those who listen." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.